A shadow over paradise, the Pahalgam attack. The idyllic tourist haven of Pahalgam in Kashmir became a scene of horror on April 22, 2025. Militants attacked, killing 26 Indian tourists and injuring many more. The Resistance Front, a known militant group, claimed responsibility for the carnage. They cited the recent resettlement of non-Kashmiris in the region as their motive. This act of violence sent shockwaves through India and cast a long shadow over the already fraught relationship between India and Pakistan. The attack in Pahalgam was not just a tragedy for the victims and their families, it was a stark reminder of the volatile situation in Kashmir. The attack also reignited long-standing tensions between India and Pakistan, pushing the two nuclear-armed neighbors closer to the brink. The immediate aftermath of the attack saw a wave of grief and anger sweep across India. Public outrage was palpable, with demands for swift and decisive action against those responsible. The Indian government was quick to point fingers at Pakistan, accusing its neighbor of harboring and supporting the militants. Pakistan, as it has done in the past, vehemently denied any involvement in the attack and called for an international investigation. However, the damage was done. The incident shattered any pretense of normalcy in the already strained relationship between the two nations. The Pahalgam attack became the catalyst for a dangerous escalation, pushing the two nuclear-armed rivals precariously close to the edge of conflict. The world watched with bated breath as India vowed to avenge the attack and make Pakistan pay a heavy price. Pakistan, in turn, promised retaliation against any Indian aggression. The situation was akin to a powder keg waiting for a spark, with the potential to ignite a conflagration that neither side could control. The specter of war loomed large, casting a dark shadow over the entire region. The international community, deeply concerned by the escalating tensions, called for restraint and urged both sides to engage in dialogue. But with both India and Pakistan digging in their heels, the path to peace seemed treacherous and uncertain. The Pahalgam attack was a grim reminder of the human cost of the long-standing Kashmir conflict. It underscored the urgent need for a peaceful resolution, but with mistrust and animosity running deep, finding a way forward seemed like a daunting task. As the world watched with growing trepidation, the fate of millions hung in the balance. The question was no longer whether the situation could be salvaged, but whether the two nuclear-armed nations could avert a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. A troubled legacy, the Kashmir conflict and its wars. The roots of the India-Pakistan conflict lie buried in the tumultuous partition of British India in 1947. The creation of two independent nations, India and Pakistan, was marred by violence and displacement. The princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, with its Muslim-majority population but a Hindu ruler, became a point of contention. The Maharaja's indecision over joining either dominion led to the First India-Pakistan War in 1947. The war ended with a ceasefire line, dividing Kashmir between the two countries. This unresolved dispute over Kashmir has become the main bone of contention between India and Pakistan. The two nations went to war again in 1965, but the conflict ended in a stalemate. The 1971 war, sparked by the Bangladesh Liberation War, saw India playing a decisive role in the creation of Bangladesh. Pakistan's defeat in 1971 further deepened the animosity between the two countries. However, it was the Kargil conflict of 1999 that brought the nuclear dimension of the rivalry into sharp focus. Both countries had conducted nuclear tests in 1998, raising the stakes considerably. The Kargil conflict, though limited in scope, demonstrated the potential for miscalculation and escalation in the region. The specter of nuclear war has loomed large over South Asia ever since. Both countries have continued to modernize their nuclear arsenals. This has led to heightened anxieties about the possibility of a nuclear exchange in the event of another major conflict. Despite international pressure, both India and Pakistan have resisted signing the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT. They argue that the treaty is discriminatory and does not address their security concerns. The lack of a bilateral nuclear dialogue mechanism further complicates the situation. The unresolved Kashmir conflict and the history of wars have created a deep-seated mistrust between India and Pakistan. This mistrust has made it exceedingly difficult to find a lasting solution to the Kashmir issue. The Pahalgam attack has only exacerbated these tensions, pushing the two nuclear-armed neighbors dangerously close to the brink of another war. The world watches with growing concern, hoping that sanity will prevail and that both sides will choose the path of dialogue and diplomacy over confrontation. The nuclear capabilities of both India and Pakistan have long been a subject of global concern. With both nations possessing significant arsenals, the stakes are incredibly high. Experts often warn that any escalation could have catastrophic consequences, not just for the region, but for the entire world. The international community continues to monitor the situation closely, urging both sides to engage in dialogue and de-escalation. Peace remains a fragile hope, overshadowed by the ever-present threat of nuclear conflict. The involvement of international players has always been a significant factor in the India-Pakistan conflict. Major powers like the United States, China, and Russia have their own strategic interests in the region. The United Nations has also played a role, albeit with limited success. Each of these players brings a unique set of capabilities and intentions to the table. Understanding their potential roles is crucial for any meaningful resolution. De-escalation is absolutely paramount to prevent further loss of life and to maintain regional stability. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for India and Pakistan, but for the entire world. The risk of nuclear confrontation makes de-escalation an urgent necessity. Reducing tensions can pave the way for more constructive dialogue and potential solutions. Dialogue and diplomacy are the only viable paths to a lasting peace. Direct communication channels between India and Pakistan must be kept open. Diplomatic efforts should focus on building trust and addressing the core issues. International mediation can also play a supportive role in facilitating these discussions. It's through dialogue that misunderstandings can be cleared and common ground can be found. A lasting solution in Kashmir requires a multifaceted approach. It involves addressing the political, social, and economic grievances of the Kashmiri people. Both India and Pakistan need to make concessions and show flexibility. The international community can assist by providing a platform for negotiations and ensuring that any agreement is fair and sustainable. Only through a comprehensive approach can a peaceful and lasting solution be achieved in Kashmir.